Hi, I'm Sailor Jerry, the dog trainer, and today I'm going to teach you how to tack up a horse, but also we're going to learn about parenting through recovery. I know a lot of the people in my following, and hopefully new people that are watching, maybe you struggle with addiction and alcoholism. Maybe you're new to recovery. Maybe you're like me and you've been in long-term recovery for a really long time and you are recovered. Everybody's welcome to listen and everybody can learn something. And Faith is here to help us. This is my horse Goose. He is a paint horse and he is an old man. Ready? Many of you know that I've been in recovery for a long time. I'm definitely recovered. The thing I want to talk about today is parenting from guilt. When you've had a life where you made a lot of mistakes, sometimes we can try to overcompensate for that and parent and make our choices about parenting from that motivation. That can actually be really unhealthy for your child, and it can be really unhealthy for you. When you've made a lot of mistakes, you have to keep developing past that place where you feel guilty. You got to keep working and working to get past that so that that can just become, those things that you did can just become a part of who you are. That's a part of how you learn how to help other people and have empathy when you go through things. No child was affected more than my son, my oldest son, who was older, and he experienced a lot of my addiction and alcoholism, and it really traumatized him. I often have to check myself from wanting to parent from a place of that I feel bad for what I did to you, because that's not the answer. That's not going to help him. The things that I found that have helped the most were making sure that I was constantly working on myself and that I was constantly hitting goals that I knew were going to help me be the person that I wanted to be, which was a good mother, a contributing member of society, a loving daughter and family member, a good friend. When I started to become those things and really make an effort to do those things consistently as a part of my identity, the guilt and the shame started slipping away. The more consistent I was about those things, the more repair I saw in my relationships. When my son was 10 and I had been sober for a little while, I asked him if he worried that I was ever going to drink or that I was ever going to basically go back out again, as we would say. And he said very clearly, very plainly, no, not unless you drink again. It wasn't really a question to him what was going to happen with me as long as I stayed on the path that I was on. And so I kept that all these years and I held on to that. Keep the plug in the jug no matter what. Everything was hard for me. And that's the mom that my kids got. And that's just the reality. And once I accept that about myself, I can move forward. I accept that I am destroying my children. I accept that even I am capable of something so tragic. I am a perpetrator. I am now a perpetrator of abuse. I had to sit with that, and I had to figure out how I was gonna make that right. How do you make that right? Is there any redemption when you've abused? Is there any redemption when you have been the abuser? It's just a point we all have to get to, where we're ready to say, I am the victim and I am the perpetrator. Take other people's inventory. Yeah, start taking their inventory, baby girl. And then turn and look at yourself in the mirror. Whoa. Excellent. And tell me where you're like them. Not where you're different, not where you're better, because you're real good at that, Jerry. I was too. I loved that. Purporting myself. Well, I would never do that. Well, I never did that. When we can identify the things in other people that we don't like inside of ourselves, that's the real development. In this dimension, duality and polarity are the way that it is. There is always contrast, there is always duality, there is always polarity. We're striving as a species to raise our consciousness, to be better, to be more compassionate. But that doesn't mean that everyone acts the same and that everyone is at the same level of development, because they're not. They're not. And so instead of us talking about what we don't want and all the things that we don't like, we have to start showing in our own lives how we are working on those things and connecting with other people that are trying to do the same thing, and then doing outreach and reaching out to people that we see that may be at a developmental phase that we've already passed. We're going to get it. I don't care what anybody says. We're going to get it.